goes. Degrees.
Happy Wednesday, college football fans. I am your boy Svo. With me is my partner in crime, my second partner in crime, Brewhead Luke. Luke, how are you, buddy?
Hey man, I'm doing good. Getting out of town tomorrow night. Just looking forward to that. That's kind of where my mindset is lately, even though I still got to go through the work day before wheels up. So, how are you?
Where are you going, Luke?
I'm going to Eugene.
That's fantastic, man. I'm very excited for you. Have you've been before?
I've been to Eugene twice. I have never been to a game in Autzen Stadium. So I've seen them in Vegas for the Pac-12 championship game, and I've watched the Ducks at the Rose Bowl. Never gone to Autzen for a game, though. So this is going to be a very, very exciting time to see them hopefully blow the doors off of USC, which is it's time to do that.
Yeah, USC has struggled as of late. Let's get into that. Let's start off with our game balls and lane balls for the week, and I'm going to let you kick it off, Luke, with your game ball and your lane ball. I know we talked a little bit about it off screen, so why don't you tell us why you chose what you chose?
Game ball goes to the Arizona football program with head coach Jed Fish. They've kind of turn it around this season, and it's very impressive to see when they've gone from a very low point 2 to 3 years ago, had a lot of struggles, brought in a lot of different head coaches. They tried Rich Rodriguez, that didn't work. They tried Kevin Summerlin, that did not work. They might have something cooking with Jed Fish. We'll see. They got to continue to climb the mountain, and maybe moving next year to the Big 12 is going to help them even more. But to see them in the Pac-12 winning this year at 6-3 now against ranked opponents, that's something they haven't been able to do in the past. It's always been a tough place to play when you go to Tucson.
Yeah, Desert Swarm is what they call that.
Yeah, and they've just they're starting to put it together, and the players have bought in. The challenge moving forward for them is finding ways to win on the road. I think they will this weekend. They got Colorado, but
Colorado's struggling. What up, Yump? Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
Yeah, they've had a pretty good season to this point, and it shows with them being well deserved in the rankings this week. So
yeah,
good on them.
Absolutely. And what about your lane ball for this week, Luke?
Disappointing Ginger lane ball of the week to Greg McElroy, giving Ginger's a bad name, first of all. He's just dragging Oregon through the mud in the college football playoff selection show and saying that they don't deserve to be ranked number 6. And he's like, Texas and Alabama should be ranked higher. Well, gee, I wonder why you think that, Greg, considering that you played quarterback at Alabama and you grew up in the state of Texas, and you probably have not watched an Oregon game all season, and you really don't understand how good the Pac-12 has been this year. But who's Oregon played? Well, gee, I don't know. They took Washington down to the wire. Washington should be in the final, in the top 4 rankings. I'll talk about that later on. They've got USC this weekend. They've got Oregon State coming up. They would, if they went out, have to play Washington again in the Pac-12 championship game. Why don't you just pump the brakes and then look at all the numbers as a whole, Greg McElroy? Look at Oregon's total offense, total defense, efficiency, they are playing as good as two other teams that are in the top 4 in the rankings right now. But for whatever reason, he is out saying Oregon should not be anywhere near that and be 6th. Their one loss is the best loss in the country, really, for a one-loss team. They're the best one-loss team. I mean, I don't know how you move Texas or Alabama ahead of them at this point when Alabama lost to Texas and then Texas lost to Oklahoma. How does an Oklahoma loss look stronger than a loss to Washington? Great,
And now a two-loss Oklahoma team.
Yeah, so I don't know where Greg McElroy is getting this from. He needs to pay more attention to the Pac-12.
Okay.
Instead of being so tuned into his home state, Texas. By the way, the Big 12 kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Newsflash. Also, maybe not have so much SEC bias.
I mean, the SEC bias is always going to be real. You know that as well as I do.
I have a lot of thoughts on the SEC.
I know you do. You always do.
Especially this season.
All right, I'm going to get into my game ball and lane ball. They are going to the same group of fans. The first game ball is for Caleb Williams. You know, we talk about Caleb Williams a lot. He was a Heisman Trophy contender. I don't think he is anymore. But he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And he took this loss. He took it hard, right? And he went to the stands and he embraced his mom. And, you know, I think it's okay, man, to be frustrated with the loss. I think it's okay to wear your heart on your sleeve. And it's okay to show some emotion. I think my lane ball is also for the haters that say it's not okay to show some emotion or to be upset about this, right? Like it is what this is, right? He took this loss hard and he wore it on his sleeve. And it's okay. You don't have to make fun of him. He's not soft. I think it's goofy. Luke, what do you think about this?
I thought the situation as a whole was kind of bizarre. I don't think there's anything wrong with how Caleb Williams reacted at that point in time. I thought it was a little bizarre that the cameras continue to follow him. I thought it was a little bizarre that he was climbing into the stands. Usually that's kind of all that stuff is like, hey, behind the scenes, I'm going to go get changed. I'll meet you outside of the locker room. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes in his personal life. Nobody really does unless you're very, very close to the situation. Like nobody really knows. Like you saw something on camera that we have never seen. Like the number of times that this probably occurs in college and professional sports, and it's not seen because it's behind closed doors. It happens a lot more than people think, especially with a 21-year-old kid who is very, very interested in winning, and he's tired of losing. He's probably tired of having this defense on that same sideline as him. I don't think it was that big of a deal. It was bizarre how it all broke down and where it broke down and how it all happened. But let the kid and his family have a moment, and who knows what's going on behind the scenes. Nobody knows. Just let it be. Like, don't call him soft because he's crying on TV. Like that has no impact on his draft stock. It should have no impact on how he performs moving forward. It should have no impact on whether or not you want him to play for the Chicago Bears or not. That's not that moment there should not impact how you feel about his football performance.
I agree completely, right? Like it's goofy to be that upset over this or to call a kid out for showing that he cares. Yeah, Alex, I think that's exactly it. It shows that he cares, man. Like this dude loves to play football, and Lincoln Riley and his defense has absolutely let down this quarterback, right? This guy has done everything he could to keep this team in games and to win some games. And yeah, it's rough. So my game ball and lane ball go to the same group of people, to Caleb and to the group of people that are hating on him. That's all I got on this.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Let's get into our college football rankings.
Yes.
We got a new graphic because we are not doing the AP poll this week. We're going to do the college football playoff rankings. We're still going to do the top 25 and keep it light till we get into the top 4. So let's get started right away. You ready, Luke?
Let's roll.
All right. Oh, I don't know why it did that. That looks awful. What the hell? That's amateur hour.
That's
But
the new Kansas State team
that's
colors.
the new Kansas State. They're the Kansas State Jokers, because
Oh
that's what
my
that looks like. So Kansas State, we're gonna fly through a couple of these because we don't really need it. But it was a 33-30 loss to the number 7 team in the country, Texas, in overtime. Yeah, I don't think we need to spend too much time on this. Texas is still without Quinn Ewers. Malik Murphy is their quarterback. But they remain in the top 25 after a overtime loss to Texas.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to save my thoughts on this game and Texas until we get to Texas. Because
Sure.
Oh, what up, Gabe?
Hi, Gabe. At 24, we have UNC, who still sneaks in the top 25. They had a tough game this week against Campbell, and they won 59-17. Drake May, 16 of 23 for 244 yards, 4 touchdowns. I don't know how Lucas, someone that watches college football primarily, I know you love the Bears too, but how has Drake May's performance this year affected his draft stock?
I think a lot of people are still pretty high on Drake May in the draft. I put JJ McCarthy ahead of him in all my
I
mock
know
drafts.
you're really
I'm taking
high.
JJ.
You're really high
it's
on
Caleb
JJ.
and JJ, and I'm considering JJ over Caleb, really.
So you have one of one, and you're gonna go JJ over Caleb. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just like that's the hill that you want to die on.
We'll see how things play out here for JJ in these big games down the stretch. But he has developed and he's tuned in and really improved on what were his weaknesses a lot over the past season. And he's starting to look more and more and more like a guy that's going to be a very successful NFL quarterback.
Okay.
So I think those are my top 2, then probably Drake, but I would take JJ for sure over Drake.
Okay.
So.
I'm not disagreeing. I think a lot of it's going to come down to the combine and his meetings with with teams, but we'll see. All right, coming in at 23, we have the Tulane Green Wave. They snuck out a win over East Carolina, 13-10. What do you got for Tulane, Luke?
They're not the Tulane from last year.
No,
I mean, they're kind of dead to me. I love that team last year. This year, they're flat. I mean, not big on them. They're there in the group of 5, but you know who should be in the group of 5 and might be in the group of 5, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and maybe in for a New Year's 6 game. James Madison, 9-0 James Madison, and the university are making a push to be considered.
Yeah.
They're hoping that the NCAA reconsiders them, and I also do hope they reconsider them.
I know you talked very highly of them when we talked 2 weeks ago. Let's get into what we call the Boring Bowl. The Boring Bowl was an Iowa 10-7 win over Northwestern at Wrigley Field. Luke, talk about the atmosphere. Did you watch any of this game?
No, I was working.
So what have you heard, though, about what it was like to see this Iowa Northwestern game at Wrigley?
They drank the neighborhood of Wrigleyville dry. Like there were so many Hawkeyes fans that just totally just went to town. So
yeah, absolutely. We're in, Big Ten country, but Iowa fans take over.
Yeah.
Iowa fans absolutely take over. And they won the Battle of Punts 10-7.
That's yeah. That's about what you're gonna get from an Iowa game. Their total against Rutgers this week, I believe, is 28. So
and then if you're following one of our favorite follows, Bud Elliott, he's doing the the points spread that Iowa needs to average to keep their offensive coordinator, and it's just not going to happen.
Oh no, they
announced,
he's not coming back.
I know they announced that he's not
out.
coming back, but it's been a fun follow all year.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I was in this. I guess by default. I mean, Big Ten West leader. They're going to probably play in the Big Ten championship game. That's the only reason why they're in these rankings, really. I mean,
Yeah, Bud Elliott's great. Bud Elliott is he was a Florida State reporter, and then he went and did his thing with recruiting, and I love anything that Bud Elliott talks about. All right, let's get into Luke. You talked about this game a little bit already. Arizona with a 27-10 win over they were a ranked UCLA team.
Yeah, they were. The Pac-12 is just looking better and better each week, really. I mean, it's so good to see Arizona joining the Pac-12 send-off tour now and being part of the party here. They are well-deserved. They're ranked in the right spot at 21.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What do we got next? Oh, we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish with a 31-23 loss to Clemson. Luke, talk about Sam Hartman and his record against Clemson.
I don't even know what his record is against Clemson. I just know that he is not having a good season, and it's getting worse by the week.
It's finally starting to catch up to him. He started off hot, but what did I read? Did I read that he's never beaten Clemson with all the years at Wake, and then now at Notre Dame, and it's just bad. It's not.
You know, I was really looking forward to Sam Hartman being Notre Dame's quarterback. I thought that was going to be the difference. It's not the difference, and he's gotten worse this year than he did against Wake Forest, and his draft stock's plummeting. He's out of the Heisman race, and I don't really know what to think about Sam Hartman anymore. I know what to think about Notre Dame, and my rule is if you can't count to 11, you should not be in the CFP rankings at all.
Yeah.
Alex says he's 0-5.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going with. Jesus. I'm almost positive that he's like, even his time at Wake, he's never beaten Notre Dame when Notre Dame decides they want to be a part of the ACC. That's another topic for another show, but man, you know, I don't love any of these teams. You know how I feel about Clemson, and you know how I feel about Notre Dame, but man, was it fun to see like the collapse of the Sam Hartman season in Notre Dame. I can't root for any team that's coached by Dabo.
Yeah, I mean that you had to pick your poison on that one.
That's exactly it. What's the lesser of two evils?
Yeah.
All right, we got another one coming in at number 19. We have the LSU Tigers. They stay in the top 25, even with the 42-28 loss to the number 8 team Alabama. And they did it without Jaden Daniels in the fourth quarter. He left with a head injury, so they had to bring in their backup. Luke, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Does he stay on for another season, or does he leave?
No, he's out of eligibility.
Jaden Daniels is?
Yeah, he is out of eligibility, so he has to go. I don't think he gets a hardship or any sort of transfer portal year. I think he has to declare.
Weird. I did not. But all right, because I would say that he couldn't he be a grad transfer?
I think I think he's in a 5th year. I don't know if he has a 6th year for a grad transfer. I know. I mean, he's a senior for LSU. I thought he was a 5th year senior. So I mean, I think he has to go. I mean,
he's 22.
Yeah,
and he's a senior, but I think he might have a year of eligibility left. Yeah, I don't know. But let's say he comes back. Let's say he gets the COVID waiver or the COVID whatever, and he plays another year because they're giving those out more. He's got to be the front runner for the Heisman in 2024.
I mean, maybe. we got to see how the rest of the season shakes out, and he's got to get out of concussion protocol.
Well, he took a pretty big like head hit this week. So, all right. So yeah, they beat Alabama. Jaden Daniels, they lost to Alabama. Jaden Daniels went out early, and then we get into Utah. They had a tough week this week. They had a 55-3 win over Arizona State. Bryson Barnes had 4 passing touchdowns. His QBR wasn't super high, but it's Arizona State. They were able to do it.
Their offense shows up against weak defenses.
Yeah.
It's that
That's
simple.
kind of it.
You saw them against an actual team when they had to play Oregon.
I know you.
And did you? Speaking of that, let's rewind because we were off last week. Kyle Whittingham's quote after the Oregon-Utah game. Did you see what he happened to say about that game?
No, what did he say?
He said that the score doesn't actually do that game justice. It was a lot worse and a lot uglier than it really was out there.
We got our boy, the bum, Dougie, in the house. Dougie, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the chat too today, guys. Alex, thank you for chiming in with some positive chat. I appreciate that.
So yeah, Kyle Whittingham acknowledged that the scoreboard did not do the game justice, and that Oregon absolutely annihilated them, and it was a lot worse than the score. He's like, we were fortunate that it was what it was. So
yeah. And then we get into the 2-loss Oklahoma
Boomer
team.
Sooner.
Yeah, Boomer Sooner. Shout out to our boy Shankster. But they lost to 27-24 to Oklahoma State. Dylan Gabriel looked pretty average, 344 yards, but 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not a great showing from him. They're a 2-loss team now.
They are a 2-loss team. The Big 12 takes the two best in-conference records to the Big 12 championship game. So they're not necessarily out of the Big 12 championship hunt. More on that later.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State had, am I reading that right?
Yes.
137 yards and 2 touchdowns.
A measly 137 yards for Ollie Gordon. That's all he ran for this week. That was it.
And then coming in next, did I mislabel a slide? I feel like I did. I just edited this thing, but I think it's Mizzou coming in next, right?
It could be Mizzou should be next.
Yeah, and Mizzou, they have played Georgia the best on this SEC schedule. It was a 30-21 loss it was a 30-21 loss to Georgia, but they played them pretty good. That's the closest game Georgia's played all year.
Yeah, Mizzou's very good. They're going to have a tough one again this week. I love Brady Cook. I love watching him throw it to Luther Burden, but when you're playing a Georgia defense, it's a little bit different than what you've seen so far.
I know you're a big Brady Cook fan. You know who else is a big Brady Cook fan and a big Mizzou guy is
Brian.
Brian
loves that team.
Brian's kind of fallen in love with this Mizzou team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and then good on Eli Drinkowitz. He was on the hot seat until this season, and he's shown that they kind of are there. They belong in the SEC and that top tier. Maybe they could stick around for a few years and build on that.
Coming in next, we have the Tennessee Vols. They had a 59-3 win over UConn. I'm not going to spend a crap ton of time on UConn, but because it's UConn, so I do not care. And then what do we have next? I believe we have Oregon State.
Keep them up there.
Yeah.
Keep them up in the rank. Keep them as high in the rankings as possible.
I know that those victories make it look better for you, but they beat Colorado again. Their defense basically held Shedeur Sanders in check. They had 4 sacks. I know he was a little bit limpy from the previous week, but that is Joey P's Tennessee Volunteers. But that defense held Shedeur Sanders in check, and it's fun to see. Now, you and I are both in agreement on this. It is fun to see that Colorado team come back down to reality.
Well, everybody knew it was going to happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're starting to play a much more challenging schedule. When they got into conference play with the Pac-12 being as tough as it is this season, you saw that coming. You saw the writing on the wall. Has Nebraska improved? Yes. Was Nebraska probably better than we thought earlier in the year? Also, yes. They played Colorado tough. But then you struggle against Colorado State, and they caught TCU off guard early in the year. TCU's starting to play a little bit better. But none of those teams are on the level of the Pac-12 schedule that they had to go through here. So
That's true. It's true. What do we got next? We may have the Louisville Cardinals, the other team in the ACC championship game in Charlotte.
what are we at 10? Are they at 10?
11.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better. Are they?
Yeah, they are the 11th ranked team in the country. They beat Virginia Tech 34-3. Not a lot of great offensive stats, but 231 rushing yards as a team for the Louisville Cardinals.
I mean, cupcake schedule so far this season. Sure.
They're going to be like, it looks like they're going to end up in Charlotte, though.
They should, and I think that Florida State should have no problem with them.
Never heard of them. Are they good?
They're okay this year.
Never heard of them. All right.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things play out. They might lose before then, but I don't.
To who?
I don't know.
Are we talking about Louisville or Florida State?
No, Louisville.
Okay. All right. Like, I'm okay with that statement, but like looking at, I'm not even. Yeah. All right. Let's get into the top 10, Luke. Penn State. They had a 55-15 win over Maryland. Yeah, it's Maryland, but their quarterback was 25 for 34 with 4 touchdowns. That's Drew Alar. And kind of a good bounce back win for Penn State.
They needed the bounce back win, and they got to refocus for the big noon Saturday game of the week.
So I put that in our games of the week. How is that a noon game?
Because Fox bought up that noon kickoff. They got all those games scheduled for a noon kickoff to get ratings to be the first game of the year. It'll be 9 a.m. It'll be 9 a.m. on the Pacific Coast when I am watching that game, having a cup of coffee. That's gonna be kind of awesome.
Absolutely. I hate that start time for a game like this. And then we get into Ole Miss, 38-35 win over Texas A&M. First of all, let's talk about the rumors in College Station right now. Jimbo Fisher is out. At the end of the year, Jimbo Fisher is out. Everything that I'm reading is we have another Tallahassee situation on our hands where you're going to see a Christmas tree on the curb in early December. He is done in College Station. The boosters want him gone. He is completely subpar, average college football coach. Amazing recruiter, but without a fucking 5-star quarterback, he's just an absolute average football coach.
Yeah, I think the reason why he's not getting fired, because wouldn't the buyout be more expensive now as opposed to the end of the season?
The buyout is bad, but like the writing's on the wall, he's done in College Station. Yeah. And this is exactly it. The pockets in College Station at Texas A&M are deeper than almost anywhere else in the country. And Jimbo is going to be he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer fucking dude, because fuck him.
I mean, Ole Miss, they're ranked here because they only have one loss right now, and they have a win over LSU, which that LSU win is not looking as good as it may have been in the preseason now that LSU has 3 losses.
Sure.
And they're like, every game Ole Miss is playing, it's like a 1-score game, and they're just finding
ways to sneak them out.
It's going to come back to bite them soon.
Jackson Dart, 24 for 33, 387 yards. Quinshawn Judkins, 23 carries, 102 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That offense is potent when it's going, but their defense can't stop shit.
Yeah, that seems to be a theme in the SEC, doesn't it?
It very well might be. We call that the Brian Kelly syndrome.
Man, yeah, that could be.
And then coming in next, we have the Alabama Crimson Tide. We already touched on it a little bit. 42-28 win over LSU. It was close going into the fourth quarter, and then Jaden Daniels went out. Jalen Milroe, 15-23, 219 yards. Once again, this may be the most impressive coaching job that Nick Saban has done, because he's working with so little here in terms of quarterback. They still are a decent team, and I'm impressed, actually.
I think they're starting to figure out how to play to Milroe's strengths.
Right.
And that offensive line is not the same as they've had in years past, but they know how to tailor a better game plan for their quarterback now, which they did not have earlier in the season. We'll see what happens down the stretch. That was a big win against LSU, but was it a big win? So we'll see. I mean,
yeah, we'll see. And coming in at number 7, they snuck out a win against K-State, Texas, 33-30. Like we said, they're still playing with their backup quarterback.
Very good backup quarterback.
Yeah, Malik Murphy is playing in relief of Quinn. They say Quinn might be back in the next couple weeks, but it was what did I read? A grade 2 joint sprain of his shoulder.
Yeah, he is practicing this week, and he's been listed as day-to-day. So he's probably going to do. They're probably going to do that whole thing where it's going to be under wraps. You'll see the line move back and forth. Vegas will have an inside scoop. Then the inside scoop might change. And then he'll be on the field. He'll be on the sidelines warming up. And it'll be like, oh, there's Quinn Ewers. Is he going to play? Is he going to play? He's going to he's going to be suited up. He's going to have his helmet on. He's going to go through warm-ups. And then the next thing you know, he's going to have Malik Murphy on the field again. And they're going to say, well, we could get by with one more week. But Texas needs to be careful this week against TCU.
Yeah.
This is a trap game. Rivalry game in a little bit of a sense, too. I mean.
All right. Luke, are you ready for it? I'm going to let you take the mic, and I'm going to let you talk, and I'm not going to interrupt you till you are out of breath. But I want you to talk about your Oregon Ducks, and I want you to talk a little bit about what you're most excited about in Eugene this week. So the mic and the floor is yours, buddy.
Man, I'm just excited to see a complete team. Let's start, in the trenches there. The defensive and offensive line have things just cooking. If you watch the highlight reel of Jackson Powers Johnson or Johnny Cornelius on offense, on that offensive line, I mean, that's why you're seeing Bucky Irving do what he's doing with the running game. It's why you're seeing Bo Nix be able to open up the passing game. They have a complete offense. They have a nearly complete defense here. I'm just excited to see them going up at night. It's a night game in Eugene, and it's going to be Pac-12 after dark for those of you that aren't going to be on the West Coast with that 9:30 kickoff. It's going to be a blackout theme, too. Everybody in the crowd's supposed to wear black, so I'm going to have to be decked out in black gear. I might have to buy some black Oregon Ducks gear. I know I'm wearing some black Oregon gear now. I didn't pack it. I already got my luggage packed, so I'm not bringing this. I forgot to pack my black Oregon gear, but I'm going to be decked out head to toe for this blackout. I'm just excited to see one of the best teams in the country, probably the best Oregon team across the board that I've seen. They're the most, if you look at offensive and defensive efficiency, there's 3 teams that are ranked in the top 20 in both categories. 1 is Georgia, 2 is Michigan, and the third one in the country is Oregon. So they've got that one loss against Washington on their record, but there's bigger fish to fry. I think part of the reason why Dan Lanning was so aggressive in that game against Washington, because he was so confident that, hey, we're going to get better and better each week. And we're going to, if things shake out, we're going to still be in that Pac-12 championship game with one loss and a chance for, the college football playoff. Looking forward to shout in the fourth quarter in the stands. I'm just looking forward to a really fun weekend in Eugene. The leaves changing colors in the backdrop of the stadium, with the mountains in the background. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to just seeing what should be Oregon just absolutely taking it to this USC team. The defense will be challenged with Caleb Williams on the other side of the field, but I mean, they cannot stop the run. Yeah, I'll get right on that, Baloney. I got you. I'll write that in my notes.
First of all, Baloney, if anybody's getting a pair of player exclusive Oregon Jordans, it is not you. It is his podcast partner, me.
I'll work
Sorry,
on it.
Bro.
I would say there's like a 1.5% chance or less of that happening.
Or less.
But no, I'm just looking forward to it because the strength of this Oregon offense has been the run game. And what's been the weakness for this USC defense? The run game. So if you guys are going to bet this game, don't bet the Oregon -15, -16, -17. We all know it's going to be a blowout at this point. Bet Bucky Irving's rushing yards prop. Bet Bo Nix rushing yards prop. They're going to run all over this defense. Like it's, and then from there they can open up the field and throw downfield to anybody they want to open up that passing game because they're going to be so tuned in on the run game. It's going to be beautiful. I am excited. I am so happy. The only thing that can make this a better weekend is if somehow Bill Walton is in the stadium, because he loves the Pac-12, the Conference of Champions, and maybe he'll be there. He probably won't, but it's just a random thought I had at the end of my thoughts here.
I like it. So 69-13 win over Cal. Bo Nix, 386 yards, 6 total touchdowns, 4 passing, 2 rushing. Is Bo Nix in New York City for the Heisman?
I mean, right now he's the second favorite for the Heisman in Vegas, so yes.
Okay.
Like he just had 6 touchdowns in the game.
Sure.
He scored 6 touchdowns. Like,
okay.
I mean, yeah, if they win the rest of their games in the regular season, he's in New York. If they win the Pac-12 championship game after they win out, he's in New York. I think that's bodacious. Bodacious.
Okay. All right, let's get into our top 5. Washington Huskies, 42-33 win over Cal. Michael Penix Jr., 21-37 for 369 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dude is still throwing a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, and they're undefeated.
They are undefeated, and they should not be 5. They should be higher.
Okay, so who should be out of that top 4?
If you go by what the rankings and the playoff committee says, they go by what the current rankings are. They have the best win in the country, and they arguably have one of the second best wins in the country right now with Arizona. So you've got 2 ranked teams, one of which is ranked number 6, one's ranked number 21. They should be up ahead of either Florida State or Michigan. Michigan's cupcake schedule has been weak. The difference is, what's Florida State's best win so far?
LSU, Clemson.
I don't know that Clemson's a good win. I think Boston College might be Florida State's best win at this point. If you go by the record, like the Boston College win for Florida State's going to help them in the long run. But I mean, you either got to take out Michigan, but Michigan has blown everybody out of the water.
They played nobody.
But it doesn't matter. Okay.
You literally just said it matters. You literally just said that the 2 best wins should put Washington in the top 4, but now you're saying that the strength of schedule for Michigan doesn't matter. Luke, you can't have both of your teams and eat your cake as well.
It matters because...
It matters now because it works for your argument.
Because they have blown the doors off of every single team.
But they played nobody.
Just like
Nobody.
Oregon has blown the doors off of every single team that they have played, and that's what, like, this is the Greg McElroy.
Except for Washington.
They lost to a team.
Huge Huskies fan here. Justin Svoboda is a huge Washington Huskies fan here. You're a dirtball. You're a dirtball.
Washington should be in either over Florida State or Michigan right now.
Get the fuck out of here.
You saying that the Pac-12 shouldn't have a have a team in the playoffs?
I'm telling you that the Big Ten shouldn't have 2 fucking teams in the top 4.
I mean, one of those 2 won't be there when it's said.
Well, yeah, no shit, Bernoulli. Of course, when Michigan and Ohio State play each other, one of those is going to go away.
And then what's going to happen if Alabama beats Georgia?
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
all right. You know what, Luke? You're in timeout. It's my turn now. Florida State, 24-7 win over Pitt. Jordan Travis, 22 for 36 with 360 yards without his top 2 wide receivers. Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman both sat that game. So they were playing with wide receivers 3 and 4. One of them was a true freshman, Hakeem Williams, who was a 5-star prospect just last year, a 5-star recruit. He's going to be a stud. And he did, like I said, he did it with a strong run game from Trey Benson, a good defensive effort, and his number 3 and number 4 wide receivers. This week is fucking hate week. It's rivalry week. It's Miami week. Miami sucks, so we should fucking steamroll Miami. But this is going to be our biggest test. We beat Miami in Doak. Then we played North Alabama, and then the battle for the Governor's Cup against Florida. And we went out and we beat Louisville in the ACC championship. We're in the college football playoff. Yes, I want cake as well. Dougie, I'm going to bring you over a cake. Yumper, I'm going to bring you over a cake. Yes, I said cake. Luke was talking about how schedule doesn't matter, but Michigan deserves to be in there because they steamrolled nobodies. So Luke and I are in a fight right now.
You gotta beat the crap out of those weak teams so that it leaves no doubt. And Michigan's left no doubt.
Yeah, they also haven't played anybody. It's okay. Whatever. I digress. Let's get into these guys. 41-13 win over Purdue. JJ McCarthy 24 for 37 to 335 yards. Another no-name win against another shitty Big Ten team.
Who do they play?
How much they play Purdue? How many times did Jim Harbaugh get illegal footage of this Purdue team to get this victory?
Oh, stop. You know what's going to happen with all of that. You already know that nothing's going to happen.
I know exactly what's going to happen. He's going to fucking Pete Carroll it for the NFL because he can't take the heat when the NCAA comes down on him.
There's going to be nothing that happens.
He's going to take his pleated khakis and he's going to run right to the NFL.
There's going to be too many potential lawsuits involved. There's going to be too much back and forth about this is good. This is allowed. This isn't allowed. This happened. This didn't happen. I didn't know about this. Yes, you did. There's going to be a lot of, hey, let me tell you about this. And then another person in the suit's going to say, well, actually, let me tell you about this. And then the other person in the suit's going to say, oh, no, well, actually, let me tell you about this because you can't do that. I could do this to you instead. And then the next person's going to say, no, you can't do that to me. I could do this to you. So you better watch out because I'm going to sue you back before you could sue me again. And then you can't sue me anymore. And then I'll sue you again. And it's just going to be a bunch of people going back and forth arguing about how they could sue each other for doing something. And then nothing's ever going to happen from it. And they're going to win a national championship because the kids have nothing to do with it. If anything, it's the coaches that should be whacked, not the kids. Let the kids go win a national championship. They deserve it.
I fucking hate Michigan. Sorry. All right, let's get into the number 2 team in the country. Georgia, like I said, they snuck out with a 30-21 win over Mizzou. Still a really good team. Still adjusting to some things, like we're 10 weeks in and Carson Beck is a first-time starter for, the first 10 games of his career. But until you beat the best, they stay in the top 2.
They're number 1 until they're not, which the committee has decided that they are not.
Which makes no sense that this is the number 1 ranked team in the country, according to the college football playoff. Although they are America's Big Ten team, everyone loves them. They're the lovable Big Ten team, my favorite Big Ten team.
That's not true. We all know it's Purdue. You should stop saying that.
They had a 35-16 win over Rutgers. Not a lot of great offensive performances this week. Kyle McCord had an okay game. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 2 touchdowns in the red zone, but they stayed the number 1 team in the country according to the college football playoff ranker.
So here's what's keeping them number 1.
The Notre Dame win.
The Notre Dame
and
win,
the Penn
which
State win.
Again, the Notre Dame win does not look that great anymore. Like I said, if you can't count to 11, you shouldn't be allowed to be ranked in the college football playoff rankings at all. That's just my opinion. That win really isn't that great for Ohio State, and it's the Penn State win. The Wisconsin win ain't shit. None of their other wins are anything. They're there because of those 2 wins alone, and that Notre Dame stock is going to plummet, and you're going to see things swing back in the direction that it should be, where Georgia will be number 1 at some point in these next few weeks. Things are going to change.
Can we get Dougie on the pod next week to just talk about where his hatred of Notre Dame comes from? Because I want to investigate that a little bit deeper. I'm a big fan of his Notre Dame hatred.
We definitely got to do it at some point.
Yeah. I want to we should just get random people on there to talk about the college football team. Not that they love, but that they hate.
Well, you can do both. Yeah.
Yeah.
we could have a 1-on-1. So
well, that wraps up our top 25. Luke, you got anything else about the top 25 before we get into Heisman Watch?
I will say after this weekend, I think you're going to see a lot of significant changes to the top 25.
Like what? Go out on a limb here. Give us a take.
TCU is going to beat Texas.
Okay.
Upset alert. TCU is going to beat Texas. It's at TCU. TCU is a 10-point dog at home. Watch that game.
I like
But then
it.
you also have Michigan versus Penn State. If Michigan beats Penn State, you might see Michigan jump over Ohio State.
Those are takes. I like those takes.
Oh.
Those are good. All right, Luke, who do you got in your top 3 for the Heisman?
So you obviously know I got Bo up there.
Yep. I don't disagree with that.
Michael Penix stays there. The thing that should be something that people notice from Michael Penix is the number of interceptions he has thrown compared to the rest of the Heisman candidates. He's pushing double digits. I think he's at 9 interceptions now. So Bo and Penix. I think Caleb's out. I think Jaden Daniels is now out. A couple guys I would put in there. You got to start considering Jalen Milroe at Alabama. And let's get some looks at Ollie Gordon at Oklahoma State.
Sure.
The dude's just putting up multiple touchdowns a game. He's running 130 to 150 yards rushing. Sometimes he's hitting 200 plus every single game, just running it down other teams' throats. I'm going to go with Ollie Gordon. I know I'm not talking about Marvin Jr. I'm trying to mention some other names that people need to look at. I've mentioned JJ in the past, but I want outside of Bo and Michael Penix, I think people should start considering Jalen Milroe and Ollie Gordon. There's plenty of others. I'll let you talk about those.
Yeah, so I think Bo is a great option there. I think JJ is great, and me, I'm a homer. At plus 800, you got to go Jordan Travis. 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 9-0 record, and already clinched a spot in the ACC championship game. I think Jordan Travis is going to be in New York City.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to win it, but I think Jordan Travis will be in New York City.
What about Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I think that's another great, hey, we want to get a non-quarterback in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Marvin Harrison Jr. It's going to be, you talked about Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. The odds for him to win the Heisman are super high right now.
I think it's
40
to, I believe it's 40 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that those are 2 non-great quarterback names to consider.
Yeah. Marvin Jr. would probably be ahead of Ollie Gordon in an invite to New York.
Yeah, just because of name recognition alone, I think.
But if Oklahoma State stacks some wins, and next thing you know, they're in the Big 12 championship game, it's going to be with Mike Gundy loves running the ball, and he loves running it with a running back that arguably is the best running back Oklahoma State has had since Barry Sanders. So, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. But, yeah, those are my 3.
All right.
Let's get into our games of the week, Luke.
All right, let's go.
So, top college football games to watch this week. I'm going to start off with rivalry week, Florida State, Miami. It's rivalry week, right? No matter what, no matter how bad Miami is or how bad Florida State is, these 2 teams fucking hate each other. There is no love lost. It's in Doak this year. It was in Hard Rock last year, and we beat the absolute piss out of Miami. I'm expecting us to do the same thing in Doak. I'm a little pissed off that this is not a night game, that this is a 2:30 start. Yeah, we got Florida State, Miami. Luke, what do you think about Florida State, Miami?
I think the reason why it's not a night game is because people know that Miami ain't shit.
No, and they're going to bench. They benched.
Did they bench Van Dyke?
Tyler Van Dyke will not be starting this game, from what I've read.
Maybe the dead cat bounce theory there with Van Dyke, get a new quarterback in there and get some energy and enthusiasm to the offense. I
Mario Cristobal is not that dude.
So the thing with Mario Cristobal is he's very stubborn, and he has coordinators to listen to, and he doesn't listen to them. He's very set in his ways, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Like if a coach says, "Hey, we could do this," and he'll say, "No, we're doing this." He's very arrogant, and
I love it.
But he hasn't done anything.
Now.
So best thing that happened was him leaving for Miami. Thank you, Mario.
I'm not mad at it. I am not mad at it at all. What else do we got, Luke? We got 2 more games here. Of course, we have Penn State and Michigan. This is just a classic Big Ten matchup. 2 top 10 teams. Luke, where's this game at? Is it in Happy Valley or is
It's
it
in,
in
it's
the
in
big
Happy
house?
Valley. It's a
Yeah.
big noon kickoff. This is a game that should have been the night game of the week, but Fox swooped in and got what they wanted with the noon kickoff here. So, I mean, man, I think Michigan wins big. I think Michigan wins big. They're just Penn State's just not on that level yet. I mean,
No, and starting the
just not there.
quarterback, the quarterback starting Drew Alar, it could be like Michigan could run away with this, and it would be like their first real big, massive W of the season.
Yeah, and that would solidify them in the top 4 and potentially move them to 1. I don't know. We'll see how things shake out. We got to see how the rest of the teams in the ranking shake out too.
And then our final game of the week, we have Ole Miss and Georgia. It's 2 SEC teams. We know the SEC is a little bit overrated, but we have the number 9 team in the country?
9 or 10, yeah.
We have the number 9 team and the number 2 team in the country. So you always got to go with a top 10 matchup as one of your games of the week. I think this will be a fun game to watch. I think Georgia's going to fucking absolutely beat the piss out of Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's going to be what happens. A game that we didn't mention that is going to be in one to watch and be intriguing for me, Washington and Utah.
Yeah, I saw that. I just think that Washington's probably going to hang a 40 burger on Utah.
It'll be interesting. It's in Washington. It's in Seattle. And Utah on the road is not the same as Utah at home. So Washington should be able to handle them. Can Utah put up some points on a very weak Washington defense? I think so. I don't know if it'll be enough. We'll see.
Yeah,
that's an intriguing game. So that was another one. And then obviously I already talked about the Ducks and USC. I mean, that's not really a game of the week. For me, it's a
game of the week because you're going to be there, man. I got to go to Tallahassee this year, and I'm just excited for you to go and experience your college football team as I was for me.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Going to be staying at my buddy Joe's house for the weekend, and then we're going to go.
My team's ranked higher than yours, but I'm still really excited for you to go.
Your team's ranked higher than mine for now. For now. I mean,
Luke. Yes, Luke. It's gonna be fun when you're on the outside looking in, but it's okay. I digress.
No, you could digress. I disagree. They're not going to be on the outside looking in at the end of the day.
All right.
That's, it's going to be loud in Austin Stadium. It's the loudest stadium in college football, according to some.
Yeah, it's definitely an atmosphere that I would like to experience at some point. So
I'll be tweeting along all sorts of pictures.
You got to get me a pint glass, Luke. That was your promise. Remember?
That's true. I got to get you a pint glass. I can make room for that, and
with all the other Ducks gear that you're buying. Did I lose you, Luke? Oh, Luke died, or did I die? Which one of us died, guys? Someone in the comments tell me who died. If it was Luke,
find a way to bring something home there.
There you go, Luke. I lost you for a minute, but there you are.
I got to be careful. I won't get a ton. Oh, I'm back.
You're back. You're good. We got you. Yump, okay. You want to come on? You want to come on and talk Illini football? I will have you on anytime, my friend.
Dougie's going to the NAU game. I was just talking. I want to go to the MAC championship game. I want to go to the MAC championship game this year, just because. Why not? The Pac-12 championship game is on Friday night. Either go for a full weekend in Detroit or drive up Saturday morning to Detroit and just go to the MAC championship game because it's college football. Fuck it.
Flights to Charlotte are like $49. So if I could get a Saturday off to go to the ACC championship, I would.
Okay. Interesting.
But so those are our matchups of the week this week. We're going to try to be a little bit more active on the Twitter sphere this week. If you guys got anything you want to talk about, if you want to come on and talk about the love of your college team and what you like, hit us up, man. We want you all on. We want to just talk college football with you guys, and bring a little bit more college football action to our little small corner of the internet.
Yeah. Tune in. I'll be tweeting a lot of Oregon content this weekend.
I like it. I'm excited to retweet it all and get you going.
So
that is us from Eugene to Tallahassee. And we'll see you next week with Luke's recap and another college football playoff edition. See you
That's
guys
right.
later.
Go Ducks.